What's going on? My name is Megan. I'm the CEO and founder of Valkyrie Fitness and Nutrition. Today, I am going to be going through my client programming to give you a really good idea. I created this case study to show you guys, what you can expect as a client if that's something you are interested in. Also, this is going to help those that are just starting out. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and give you some advice along with this video so that way you can start implementing it right away. All right, that's the goal here. Who I really work with is LGBTQ plus frontline workers. I help with allies as well. So those that are working those 12-hour shifts, maybe you're in healthcare, maybe you're utilities, transport, pilots, military, law enforcement, firefighters. There's a big list in terms of frontline workers. So if you fall into that category, that is who I specialize in working with. And reason being is because I have experience in it. I have law enforcement, I have military background, so I understand the 12-hour shifts. I understand working nights, switching back and forth, overtime, getting stuck on a shift, people bringing stuff in to work, and trying to just navigate being healthy when everything is against you. So that is why I really focus in on frontline workers, just because, the background and the understanding. I do help others as well. So if you are still interested, but you might not be a frontline worker, I have worked with others in the past who are not considered frontline workers. I just like to, just my type of people. That's why I always understand, but that doesn't stop me from helping others as well. So if that's you, you could stick around, keep watching the video, and just really get a good understanding of how this is going to work, okay? All right, so let's kind of dive into this. I wanted to bring up a past client who did an amazing job in terms of weight loss and just seeing the scale really, really drop. So background on her, she was working as an EMT. She did school as well. So going back back and forth between work and school and just trying to live a healthier lifestyle, she noticed hey, my health is not doing really well. Going to the doctors and just getting not great news, back issues. So having the excess weight was really, really causing her to struggle, especially if you are an EMT and you have to lift people up and perform for your career. So it does make a big difference to help getting that weight off as well as building strength along the way. So we really focused in on more of a 3-day-a-week workout with some walking included in there, and really just starting her out slowly, right? Just creating a program that's going to work for her, that she could do at the gym after work or after school, or days off, and just start implementing that into a weekly routine. So, didn't throw her to the wolves or anything crazy like that. We started off easy, and then we progressed forward throughout the program. What I really want to dive into as well is just, coming up my other stuff, is a client process, okay? So getting an idea of what happens with clients in my program. So I run the Frontline Fitness program. I recently just dropped a new program as well for those that are maybe looking for a more month-to-month type thing with no contract, just get an idea. Those who are in my Frontline Fitness program get everything, including myself, right? They really get more hands-on with me, so that way I can help them throughout their process, right? That's my goal for my clients. At the end of the program is they can go off on their own, they can continue to see results, and they can feel like they learned something throughout the program. So here's a little bit of the process. I'm going to get an idea on your starting point, right? Everyone's starting out in a different position. Some people might have experience working out, some people might not have any at all. So where you are at currently, some people understand macros, some people have no clue, some people never tracked food before. So where are we starting out at? And with that, what I like to do is have you fill out a fitness assessment just to really get a good understanding of who you are, what a typical day looks like, your current activity levels, stress, things like that, to give me some background on you. So your starting point. Next, I really, really want my clients to track their own food for at least a week. That gives me an idea on, hey, where you even are in your nutrition. Some people don't realize how much or how little they're eating or how inconsistent it might be. So getting, a laser point on like, hey, this is what your week to week kind of looks like, and going from there, which is going to help me essentially build meal guides for them that based off the foods that they're already currently eating, but teaching them how to hit their macro targets with those foods. So a starting point is always number one. I always tell people, if you are throwing yourself into a brand new program and it's a complete 180 from who you currently are, a lot of times what I see is people fall off fairly quickly with that, right? So my goal for anyone new is to, right, we're going to crawl before we walk and then walk before we run. So going through those processes is really, really important, and just getting a good foundation, right? So that is rule number one. And then understand what needs to change in order to see results. So what do we need to change? Do we need to increase some activity level? Do we need to lower some carb intake and increase your protein intake? Do we need to start watching your sodium intake as well, or sugar and things like that? Like, people don't realize how much that stuff impacts their weight and adds it up over time. So once we get a good understanding of that, which doesn't take me long, right? Just about a week, I can get a really good understanding of how my clients are. I create that custom program based on their goals, time, and equipment. So within their program, I'll have them fill out that fitness assessment, build a custom program, and then adjust if needed, right? So they're tracking their food that first week. They're already getting their workouts. They're already starting implementing things that I've provided to them, so that way they can get to work almost immediately, right? The only thing that's going to be kind of like a waiting period is just figuring out that nutrition, because that is something that takes a little bit of time. So within that first week, we get that squared away. And then getting consistent with the nutritional intake is definitely a huge thing. So what we're going to do is see everything, go from there, right? We're going to break it down line by line, figure out what needs to be switched up, and then what needs to be consistent, right? So I often show my clients how to pre-log their food, so that way it makes it super simple, super easy. That's exactly what I started doing when I first was on my fitness journey, right? I was like, let me learn how to macro count. I have no clue what this even means. How do I even start? I understood like your protein, your carbs, and your fats are your macros, and they equal your calorie amount based off per gram. So for instance, you're looking at protein on a nutrition label, and on the back of it, it says 25 grams of protein. That has a calorie amount, right? So you see at the top of that label, it might be a protein bar, it'll say calories. So for protein, per 1 gram is 4 calories, right? So we're going to end up multiplying that, and that's going to help us reach our calorie amount. This is also a really good way to see how much protein is really in a meal as well, right? You want to make sure that you're having adequate protein in either your protein shakes or your full meals. So that's what I really started to do, is just getting used to tracking, being like, okay, I'll download my FitnessPal, which I suggest you do if you're watching this video, and just really start logging your food. Start seeing what you're intaking, right? We don't realize what we eat until we put it down on like paper, or we put it down in a free app. So I used to log my food, put it in my FitnessPal, and I would see like, okay, I'm only hitting maybe 70, 80 grams of protein per day. Not very much. My goal was to hit 1 gram per pound of my goal body weight. So here I was like, okay, I have to hit at least 130 grams of protein to be like consistent with that. So what I used to start doing was plugging in my foods. I had eggs in the morning. I had my snack, protein shake, what I was eating for lunch, and just seeing what I could increase to hit that number. Once you get that under wraps, the carbs and the fats kind of fall into place as well. So if you are just starting out, I'll even write it down in here, right? So focus, well, it's going to be small, but we'll focus on protein and calories. So that's what we start focusing on, just to really help you out and really just build a good foundation, okay? All right, so back to this client here. I'm going to bring up the weight chart. So this is how I monitor my clients, their weights, their food intake. We have their pictures, and I do check-in forms with them. So we get a good, well-rounded starting point and where they currently end up, right? So we started around 250. We're down about to 220. I think as soon as she got done, she hit that 220 mark. So, 30 pounds dropped, and she has continued to lose to this day just because of the foundation that we built on her programming. So for her, right, we weren't doing anything crazy. It was a few days a week. Just getting used to it, right? She wasn't someone that was working out consistently, never been in a gym, so she didn't need anything crazy. I have clients I've been working with for several months, and now we've completely changed the way their programs are set up from where we started, right? I'm giving them more intricate workouts. They're getting more drop sets, more supersets. We're working on pushing differently than a beginner might start. So again, we want to make sure whatever program you're doing, it's customized for you, your goals, your equipment. I have clients that are working out at home. Some of them are working out home and gym. So just really combining the two, moving things around, especially when vacations come up or you get sick or something happens like that. So making sure like we have all the things covered that we possibly could. What else? Oh, so normally her workouts are typically lasting 45 minutes, which is great in terms of, someone that's living a busy lifestyle. 45 minutes is perfect. I've worked with clients where we've done 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45, an hour plus, just because for some people their workout time is their mental health time. So really finding out like what they want. A lot of times my military members that are deployed, they're like, look, like I want to just like spend extra time working out. So I'm like, cool, we'll increase the time if that's something you're looking for. And we'll also make sure that you're eating enough, because if you're working out more, you got to make sure your intake is higher. So all that fun stuff gets taken care of by me. Clients also are getting full modules based on their training. That way they're able to do this when they're done and review it for life, right? This is a long-term program. This is not something that you just get and then, sits on your shelf. This is something that you have available to you through courses, ebooks, things like that you'll always forever have and forever be able to review. And just getting a really good idea in terms of like how the check-ins are. I give feedback exactly how you're watching me right now. This is exactly how I give my Frontline Fitness clients their feedback through a video. That way they can sit down, maybe watch it, be like, hey, okay, like this is where I need to change my nutrition. We'll review their workouts, see how they're doing there. We'll review their photos, compare, contrast, help them in any way possible. That way they are continuing to be successful. And I think I wanted to show you one more thing as well. We did like a weight loss goal, like a target. So for some people, it's overwhelming, right? You realize you have a lot to lose. So we did a weight loss target goal of like around 5 pounds. She ended up hitting that 6 pound mark. This was just our first one we did just to kind of like give her that little bit of extra motivation. Because once you see that weight or that scale start to drop, it is nice. So she had that initial weight loss, right? We were down 7 pounds. Then it went up. It went up 3, which is fairly normal. I was like, don't worry, it's going to happen. And then dropped, right? So we had that drop and then just continue to trail down from there. So the scale is a great tool. It's not the end all be all. That's why I have clients do pictures and we compare and we kind of just evaluate each week that way, and just base it off of more than one thing, right? It's just a number, so I wouldn't get too held up on it, and that's why I have my clients do that, and even measurements, so that way we can go, hey, like let's review your measurements instead if the scale hasn't moved. And a lot of times too, I have a client actually currently, she has been, stuck at the same number for a week or two, and, noticed that her pant size is now down between a 4 and a 6. I was like, look, the scale is just a number. Like, we'll keep at it. It'll go back down eventually, but let's focus in on wins like that, where you were never, haven't been in that size for years, and now you're back down. So, great tool, great thing to use, but at the end of the day, I like using pictures and measurements and how your clothes are fitting to really lock it in and see how your progress is going. So this is, in a nutshell, kind of what the program looks like. I'll give you some examples as well, in terms of what some clients get, what their nutrition looks like when they get their meal guides. So this is a different client, past client, but I just want to kind of give you a rundown on what it kind of looks like in terms of when I create customized meal guides for people, just as an example. That way they can really go, hey, this is what I was currently eating. This is typically what I eat normally. This client was a huge fan of the daring chicken. So, created a wrap for her and loves it. She's like, I like eat those wraps every day. I still talk to her and she's like, I still eat those wraps just because they're so easy. And it requires like almost no cooking from her. These are in the frozen section if you've never seen them. But switching up meals, giving people different examples, showing them how to really hit their goals, and also not be afraid of carbs. I know that's always a big thing for people. Everyone's afraid of carbs nowadays, but understanding like, hey, we have to fuel our bodies for our workouts. And for the most part, a lot of people are eating more than they have before they started working with me. I've recently just increased a ton of other client calories and their macros. That way they are fueling their body, feeling better, and, performing better at the end of the day as well. So just wanted to give you a little example of that. Like, feel free to take a look at this, snapshot it, whatever you got to do. But there is a way to really dial in your nutrition without feeling like you have to cut everything out and make it boring. G Hughes, love that stuff. Those are low carb, sugar-free sauces. Give those a try. I provide recipes. As you can see, the C recipes. My clients have a full recipe book that they can go through, and I already pre-uploaded all their recipes into my FitnessPal. All they have to do is type it in to see it and then plug it in. You don't have to go and do it yourself, right? So my goal for all my clients is to make it as easy as possible. I've learned this years and years and years of doing it on my own, and years of helping clients go through the process as well, and just making things streamlined as possible for them. That way they don't have to guess. They have this stuff for life, and they can always implement it into their day-to-day. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this case study, and below I will have a link where you can go and book a free consultation with me. We'll sit down on Zoom. My goal is to get a really good understanding of where you're at, and at the end of the call, see if one of my programs is a good fit for you. If so, we'll get you, started as soon as possible, and go from there. All right.